Eagles fly. Let's beat the squad. Big Pat shelling Dante the dark job. Drop the stats on him. Drop the facts on him. Spur King, baby. Let's get it on.
Hey, fam, it's your man Dante the DarkKnight, and welcome to another edition of Eagles Talk. Upon further review, haven't talked to you guys in a while, and things have happened since the last time we have talked. What has happened? The Eagles have hired a new OC, Sean Mannion. I think that's how you pronounce it. I'll get it right before the season begins, but I believe Sean Mannion has been hired as the new OC. And we're losing an old friend, an old and dear friend, a very important part of this team for, I guess, the past 13 seasons. And that is one Jeff Stoutland. Stout is out. Stout is out. And I think I made a mistake in putting the promo that he retired. I don't know if he retired. I just know he's not going to be with the Eagles anymore. So we have that to talk about. There's a Super Bowl that's coming up on Sunday. I guess we can chat about that too, but I really want to jump into the fact that we have a new OC, and let's discuss how you feel about that. There's some things going on. I mean, there are some things going on. I know it's starting to look. I was just texting somebody today about the Eagles situation, and I was like, it's starting to look like a shit show out here, and that's not a good look, right? And we'll delve and dive deep into what the happenings. But first, let me bring in my co-host, Pat.
DarkKnight.
All right, Pat, yo,
yeah,
what's going on,
man? I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. Let's get this first quarter started so we can talk about our new OC. So you are watching Eagles Talk, the most unique Eagles coverage show around. That's by us Eagles fans and for us Eagles fans. And here on Eagles Talk, we like to talk about our favorite football team. That is the Philadelphia Eagles. And we do so in such a relaxed manner that we enjoy our favorite adult beverage in the form of shots. So we're probably going to need a couple shots to get into this conversation we're going to have about gaining a new OC who has no play calling experience and losing a integral part of the coaching staff, a very important part of the coaching staff, and that's Jeff Stoutland. So everybody raise your glass to our Philadelphia Eagles, and let's take it down the hatch. So you got the soundboard? You're doing the soundboard?
I got it. Yeah, I got it.
Okay. All right. So here we go. Down the hatch. 3, 2, 1.
You're now listening to the
All right, Sean Mannion, new OC, quarterback coach for the Green Bay Packers. Only been coaching professionally for 2 years. An inexperienced play caller, never plays in the NFL before. Sound familiar to the last OC we had? Didn't call plays, but look, let me say this: I feel okay with this guy for some reason, right? And I'll give you the reasons why I feel okay with this guy. I feel okay with this guy because there's a lot of talk about him being a brilliant young mind. And although I know a part of my wants when looking for an OC was hopefully to find someone like a Vic Fangio, right? Someone who's not looking for any head coaching job, someone who is a veteran who knows offense and will be around for some years. The other side of me kind of wanted the next Sean McVay, like the next young, brilliant offensive mind, right? I lean towards the veteran experienced person because I just wanted to keep continuity on this team. But it was very intriguing to want that next Sean McVay, that next Kyle Shanahan, the next Matt LaFleur, that type of coach. And we have him, I think. I think we have that type of coach now in Sean Mannion. So he is young, but the talk is he's a brilliant young offensive mind. He doesn't have play calling experience, but for some reason, I don't know. It's just, I can only say it's my gut feeling. But for some reason, I feel more comfortable with him than Kevin Patullo in his first year as a play caller. Why? Why do I feel this way? Because number one, he comes from a nice offensive coaching tree. Having worked under Matt LaFleur, who is a brilliant offensive mind, in my opinion. He has played under some brilliant offensive minds, Sean McVay, Gary Kubiak, Clint Kubiak, Shanahan. He has come from a nice lineage of coaches that he has played under. So with that, and compared to Kevin Patullo, who came from under Nick Sirianni, who does not strike me as a brilliant offensive mind. That alone right there gives me more comfort in Sean Mannion, right? He comes from working from under a brilliant offensive mind. Kevin Patullo, not so much, right? So I have, and this is kind of shocking even for me, I'm already willing to give him a longer leash. Meaning I'm ready, right? As long as if he abides by some, I hope he's looking and listen to my list of my rules. That's going to allow me to give him a longer leash. Listen to me, Sean. These are the conditions in which you will get this longer leash with me, the Dark Knight. 1, don't listen to Sirianni at all. That's number 1. What I mean by that is his system. Do not incorporate his system into your
Absolutely.
Just do your thing. I have confidence, and I want to see. And the reason why I'm comfortable is because I want to see your system. I want to see this fresh, innovative, creative system that you may bring, and I don't want it to be tainted by you trying to incorporate anything from the Sirianni scheme, because we've seen that the last 4 years, and we know what that looks like. And everybody in the world knows what it looks like, and that's why it's been so predictable, because it's been stale and we've been running it for 4 years. So first thing is, do not incorporate Sirianni's offensive scheme at all. That'll allow me to give you a longer leash. Number 2, I'll give you a longer leash because I know you're a first-time play caller, so I'm going to give you a longer leash. Number 2, another condition: run your scheme. And don't get me wrong, I don't want you to try to force a square peg into a round hole, meaning your quarterback, right? I want you to incorporate some of the things that he does best into your scheme. I do want you to do that, but I don't want you to cater so much to him that you get away from some of the things you like to do. If you like to run run a lot of plays from under center, which I'm getting that you have come from a system where your coaches do that a lot. So you may be prone, or that may be something that you want to do. Don't move away from that. You make Jalen play from under center. Don't cater to him that much when you're going to change your whole identity. You know what I mean? So be stern. Be stern in running your system, but don't try to fit a square peg into a round hole. If you just know that it's something that he cannot do, that's something different. But I don't want you to pander to him and pander to him and shy away for something that he won't do.
Yeah, I actually I totally agree with that. And
Go ahead.
it's crazy that you say that, Dark Knight, because when we hired Brian Johnson, you were upset. You were enemy. You basically you didn't like the hire. When we hired Kevin Patullo, you didn't like the hire. So it's like, all right, we got outside the building, we got outside minds, we got people that's coming in with their own philosophy, their own thought process, how the offense should run with these superstars. Let's be honest, these are superstars. These not regular everyday players. These are superstars. These are the top position players in the NFL, period. And every time that you have agreed with an offensive coordinator, our offense has taken off. So I have to agree with you, Dark Knight. When you go look back at Mannion, yes, he didn't call offensive plays. It's reminiscent to almost Andy Reid. Andy Reid was the tight ends quarterbacks coach, right? He didn't call offensive plays, but we gave him a chance. And there's a guy from Green Bay that had that much coaching experience, and that turned out well, right? Actually, he did call the plays in the Shrine College All-Star game. And we saw a little bit of his philosophy of rolling out, getting the quarterback under. Even though I'm pretty sure that wasn't his playbook. It was more or less a generic playbook that he got to pick the call the plays. You did see some things that we kind of like that I hope he brings to this offense. Some flood concepts, some rollout, some inside pitch to the running back, some traps, some counters. I mean, that's what you saw in the in the All-Star game, So this is what you're going to get with this Philadelphia Eagles team. And I also like the addition of Josh Gizzard, the former offensive coordinator from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, as the pass game coordinator. Him and Mannion working together, I believe we can revamp this offense. The only thing I think was just going to change, and this is something we're probably going to talk later on down the road about Jeff Stoutland, is the old style of our running game that I think is going to be completely gutted and revamped into a style that's conducive to what we see with these high octane offenses. If you go back and look at the Buccaneers offense, they were a pass first offense, but they could run the ball against you. If you go back and look at the Rams offense, they're a pass first offense, but they can run the ball against you. Even with Green Bay, they're not known for the run the ball, but they had some concepts in there that was dynamic within the concept of their offense. And I have to give them a chance because I have to see what they bring to this offense and how this offense responds with these new faces in this locker room, because these guys haven't been there before. It's not a guy that's been part of the offense before, like KP or Brian Johnson. Like, these guys are fresh off a new team that bring a different perspective, and that's all we ask as Eagles fans. Like, if we have a field offensive coordinator or a defensive coordinator, you bring a new perspective into the building and stop trying to fix a bad stop trying to fix a slash, a severed wrist with a band-aid. We're trying to get this thing back on the tracks, and you need fresh perspectives. You need these new age coaches to come in with their new ideas that works well with these new type of offensive weapons.
Well, and another thing and I agree with everything you just said, and thank you for giving me my props. I do know something. You know what I mean? But I appreciate that. And the reason why I was not high on Brian Johnson and I was not high on Kevin Patullo was one common denominator, and that was Nick Sirianni chose them. And I just don't have confidence that that's a strength of his. Of knowing offense. I don't think that his strategic or his X and O's knowledge of offense is a strength of his. And thus, I didn't have any confidence in him selecting the offensive coordinator. Now, this brings me to why I'm comfortable with the Sean Mannion hire. It's because Howie and Jeffrey made the selection. And when you look at their record of selecting coaches, they have a pretty solid record. They have a pretty solid record together. Jeffrey doesn't have a bad one since he's owned the team, right? But together, Howie and him have a pretty good record. The last few coaches they have selected together, I think the only one that didn't win a Super Bowl was Chip Kelly. They hired Doug Peterson. He won the Super Bowl. They hired Nick Sirianni. They won the Super Bowl. And it just wasn't the fact of the coaching selection that did it. It definitely a big part was the roster that Howie has handed to both of those coaches that played a big part in them winning. But I think that they do a thorough job in selecting the person that they want. They do a very, intense and thorough interview process. They collect information. They go through a lot of candidates to hear and see and get what they think of their offense too. It's just not they're just not compiling information to hire them. They also want to get an idea or their perspective on what their offense looks to the rest of the league. So I think that Jeffrey and Howie are very highly emotionally intelligent. And I
Yeah,
got that from
I agree
Jeffrey.
with that. I
And I
definitely agree
think
with
that
that.
they apply that to the interview process. So that is why I feel good about this guy too. I know we didn't get the names that we wanted that were on our list, but I think that I don't feel like this was a all right, we didn't get who we got, we're going to settle. I don't think this is a settled situation. I think this was a deliberate and a good choice. And I'm looking forward to seeing the exciting new offense that's going to be on display next year. And I don't think that it's going to be long. I mean, I got to give him some grace because he's a first-time play caller. But like you just mentioned, the brain trust that they are assembling here with Gizzard coming from Tampa Bay, young minds, creative minds, and I can't wait to see what they do because they are exciting, smart, creative minds, and now they get this Ferrari to play with. You know what I'm saying? Like they get these toys that they get to play with, and whatever their imagination could think of, they can probably make it happen with the players that they have here. Now I am hearing a whisper, and I don't want this to happen. I never wanted this to happen, that maybe AJ won't be here next year. I think that that's a mistake. I don't want to see AJ going. I don't think that you find AJ Brown type talent just
No.
laying around. It
No.
doesn't grow in a tree. You know what I mean? You have to really think hard before you let a player like a AJ Brown walk out your building. There's not a lot of AJ Browns in this league.
You're 100% right because you look at Tennessee. Tennessee got rid of AJ Brown. They drafted a receiver from Arkansas that they thought was going to be the replacement, and it was nowhere close to
Nowhere.
the caliber of AJ Brown. So you keep AJ Brown at all costs, and plus that cap number for him, the trade is somewhere I think it's $34 to $41 million that you have dead cap space. And right now we're at a good point where I think we have over $28 million in cap space because the cap is going up this year. We need to utilize that. We need to utilize the way that's coming in for our free agents because there are a lot of people that we should not let walk this year. All right.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of players that should not walk this year. There are some players. All right, go ahead out there. Aziz, Allaire, go. You know, Dory Jackson.
Dotson.
I see you later. Even if you can get Jahan Dotson on a friendly deal, because if you can't find a third receiver, he's your best bet, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Jalen Phillips, I talked about this in our last show. Jalen Phillips, N'Kobe Dean, Dallas Goedert. These are the guys you need to bring back.
Mm-hmm. Well,
but
that's going to be. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, even with that, like even with that being said, you don't need to go into more cap hell by trading AJ Brown if you're not getting something back or equal value. And you're not.
And I don't think that they should anyway. Welcome, the Queen of Eagles Talk. How are you? We're Pat has moved on to the free agents, but we're still talking about the OC that we have hired. I've had a good feeling about him. For some reason, I feel more comfortable with him being a first-time play caller than I felt about Kevin Patullo, because of who selected him and where he came from, and the talk around the league about the young, brilliant mind of Sean Mannion. What is your take, and how do you feel about the new offensive coordinator hire, ma'am?
I'm sorry. Before Nichelle speak, I have to say this really quickly. I'm sorry. It's $72 million dead cap hit. I'm sorry. That's not happening. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Nichelle.
Well, no, we can't do that. We can't do that.
I'm sorry, Nichelle. I'm sorry.
I like to say, look at everybody in their work clothes.
This is business attire.
Yeah,
I think it's a business attire memo.
You still look fashionably good. You match us right real good.
Yeah, I'm just in a black sweater and black jeans. That's my work attire. That's like the work go-to in advertising. So Mannion, is that how we say his name?
Sean Mannion, yes.
Yeah.
So I do agree with you, Dante. He has his name is good on the streets in these NFL streets. It was better than Kevin Patullo, to your point. So I'm more of the wait and see, because we're still on this OC coaching carousel experiment that I told you that I wanted to get off. And here we are back at it again. And trying to rebuild chemistry every season is just problematic.
It is.
I don't any way you slice it, that whether you are on an NFL team or you're in corporate America or you work down at the docks, it doesn't matter. Anytime you disrupt your team, you have to start all over again with building that up. So that's really the biggest issue for me, is not having consistency and continuity within the offense. So he has a big task ahead of him to, make a way out of no way right now. I guess you already pontificated about Stoutland.
Not yet.
No, we haven't moved to Stoutland, this is a great segue. Let's now talk about Stout. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Stout is out.
No, let's do that. Let's do that in this next quarter. Let's end this quarter and go into.
All right, yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
You're right.
And that's the end of the quarter.
All right, so you're listening to Eagles Talk, the most unique Eagles coverage show around, and we're going to be around all off season. And on Eagles Talk, we like to talk about our favorite football team, that is the Philadelphia Eagles. We do so in such a relaxed manner that we enjoy our favorite adult beverage in the form of shots. I'm just doing some hot tea. Pat is doing, I don't know.
I'm doing it as tequila, the Trey for gays. I'm not saying
tequila.
it right. Yeah, I'm doing tequila. Off season, it's tequila.
All right. And
I'm getting back in shape, so I got to do something light.
Okay. All right. That's good. I like to hear that. What are you doing, ma'am?
I'm doing red wine from a
red
farm
wine.
up in Morris County.
Okay.
So
Okay.
homegrown.
Little loco.
Yeah.
And Mr.
little
Jones is
loco.
doing the Don Julio tequila and a beer chaser. All right. So whatever you're doing, let's all do it together. Let's raise our glasses to our Philadelphia Eagles and down the hatch. 3, 2, 1.
You're now listening to the second quarter.
Now, with all of the changes that's going to be taking place in this offseason, we've already had to hire a new OC and a coaching staff for him. And a part of that transition in the coaching staff is he's going to be bringing in his own offensive line coach. And I'm okay with change. I understand that to a certain degree. But the story behind Stout and his exit and what they did to him last year is disturbing to me. It's concerning to me. I know that last year was sort of a shit show, right? We all agree to that. But it seems that the shit show is still, it's still starring. It still has a starring role right now, and I'm not happy with that. And to me, I'm going to hold off. I'm not even going to go there yet. But to me, I think that there are some key players in this whole situation being a shit show, right? And I'll let you guys tell me who you think it is. But anyway, Stout is out, and there's going to be a new offensive line coach. I am so happy that he was a part of this team for 13 years. He did some amazing things. I don't even have to list them, but he's turned straw into gold. He was like Rumpelstiltskin. He turned straw into gold with some of these players, man. If you were like with we know with what's my guy Mailata, who had never played football and turned him into an all pro. He took average players and made them good. He took good players and made them all pros. He did a lot with the talent that he was given, man, and he's going to be sorely missed. And I understand that there has to be change, and change is a part of life. I just don't like the stories coming out of the NovaCare Center about how he was treated last year and the such, right? So I just tip my hat to Stout on his way out. I'm going to miss him. And he was a throwback coach too, like one of those get in your face, type of people. And, he rode you, pause, but, he did it for your good. And he created some really quality players with his style of coaching.
He definitely did. I don't know if Nichelle want to go first, but I yield to you, Nichelle, because I do have a lot to say about Jeff Stoutland.
I mean, you know, he set the precedence not just for Philadelphia Eagles history, but for changing the entire tide of how O linemen were viewed. You know,
Mhm.
our O line was in what was that ESPN body issue?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He he made, you know, he sh- he put a spotlight on the O line position for the league that hasn't been done,
Mhm.
you know, in our lifetime, you know, watching football. So, you know, it's more than just losing the contribution and again the consistency and continuity that he brings to our team, but look what he did just for that position, and having that position be taken even more seriously than just the big boys up front. People, I think people were more in tune with just the technical aspect of what you needed an O line to do. You know, their blocking schemes, if their run blocking versus their pass blocking. You heard more people talk about, you know, the O line because of the Stoutlands of the world and what he did in Philadelphia. So it's a huge hole that we're going to have to fill with that. Not saying it's not possible, but I am, you know, we're still trying to get all the information, but I'm still struck by the fact that, you know, the early reports are he didn't have a say in the run game. I don't understand that. I don't understand that. And did they disagree on the run game? Like what was the problem? Because
Yeah, it was a whole thing.
we saw
Mhm.
that the run game was terrible. Good and terrible
Mhm.
this year. So something was not clicking with the coaches. And I'm not going to put it all on, you know, Patulo and Nick and say it was all them because all three of them had to mess that up. He is the O line coach. And I know
Mhm.
we had injuries, but nobody was making the proper adjustments. So, I mean, that was a collective effort with the, you know, the O line. And was he mad about not having depth? Was it just about, you know, not having a say in how they wanted to change the run game? I mean, something had to change because we weren't blocking.
Yeah, they removed them from the run game concepts, because you had a big voice when Kellen Moore was there. That's why they promoted him to run game coordinator.
Right.
Because at one point, you know, when you was the offensive line coach, you was just the offensive line coach. There was
Mhm.
no run game coordinator, pass game coordinator. But as
Mhm.
offenses has evolved, now you utilizing some of these offensive coordinator positions that can be utilized like a
Mhm.
Jeff Stoutland to fit that run game coordinator. So all he does is during a week when they're putting in their game plan, he's suggesting these run fits, these run things for the team, and they took his voice away from what the reports
Well,
say.
let me play devil's advocate.
Mhm.
Is the reason why because he was a run game coordinator and because of the production of the run game and whatever he was his adjustments were just not working? Is that why?
Absolutely not.
I don't know. We're not in the building. I'm
Yes.
just that's all I'm saying. I know they took his voice away, but I'm trying to figure out when it came to fixing the run game,
Mhm.
whose head are we going to put that on?
So I mean, listen, I got to put on the last year's administration. If we're going to blame anybody, you first you start from the top and you work yourself down. And the head coach is a primary blame for a lot of things that goes wrong. You have to fall on your sword, right, as a head coach. Then you go to the next person in line, which is the offensive coordinator. Offensive coordinator, if you don't step up to bat, you're going to be the next person on the chop block. Because let's be honest, the head coach has a little bit more weight than the offensive coordinator because the head coach has had successful seasons since he's been hired. But back to this whole Jeff Stoutland thing, you know, I listen to WIP and I try not to listen to them a lot no more because our football season's over. They talking about other things, the Sixers, the Flyers, and the, the Winter Olympics, the Hugh Douglas. They talk about different things, so I try to stay away from it. But today I actually tuned in, and Jason Kelsey was drafted in the sixth round of 2020 2011 NFL draft by Andy Reid. In 2012, he was considered a bust. This name of this coach that we try not to mention, Chip Kelly, came into the building in 2013 and brought with him, after Howard Mudd left as offensive line coach, brought with him Jeff Stoutland. Jeff Stoutland instantly realized how they were using Jason Kelce, and they were utilizing his skill set completely and utterly wrong. He is a more athletic center, and what he was able to get out of Jason Kelce actually revolutionized the center position. There weren't many centers pulling. There were many centers getting to the outside on toss plays and leading their running backs down the field. If I can mention one center, the only center I can think of is Jeff Saturday, and more or less, that was off of Peyton Manning's and how he ran that offense. But Jeff Stoutland was able to realize his players' potential. Just look at the talent that he had. Like, over the 13 years, he had 27 Pro Bowl selections, 10 first-team All-Pros, 5 second-team All-Pro honors. He turned players like Jason Kelce, who we thought was a bust, and my brother, Shell, said he's too light in the ass. This is my brother's words verbatim. Jason Kelce is too light in the ass to play center. He's 290-something pounds going against a 300-pound defensive tackle. And the one thing Aaron Donald said, the one player he had to go against was Jason Kelce, because he always knew how to get to him. You already, DarkKnight, you mentioned Jordan Mailata. We already know about Lane Johnson, how he, made Lane Johnson to one of the best right tackles in pro football, period. But we forget about the guys like the Brandon Brooks, the Evan Mathis, the Jason Peters, right? Mm-hmm. We forget about these guys that he coached Jason Peters from the age 31 to 38, from 2013 until he was injured in 2017 until he left, right? 4 consecutive Pro Bowls. Every year he was an All-Pro.
Brandon Brooks
was, even though Brooks was an All-Pro, he should have been an All-Pro. He made 3 Pro Bowls.
Yes.
Right. So Jeff Stoutland, his ability to get the best out of the talent is pyramid. Now this offense regime is going in a different direction. The running fits is going to be different. How they utilize the offensive line is going to be different. It may not be the same offense that we looked at last year or the year before. It might be more dynamic. It may be less dynamic. It may be more straight to the point. It may be more crosses. It might be more outside runs, inside runs. We don't know yet. But one thing for sure, 2 things for certain. Jeff Stoutland was a hell of an offensive line coach. And
he was the best in the league, in my opinion.
Sir, if you ever had a bar somewhere and I have 2 nickels, I'm making sure you don't pay for anything at that bar.
All right. Well, I wasn't in the building either, but I'm going to go by a process of elimination on whose fault this faulty running game was, right? So yeah, I'll let you guys choose. Let me present my case. I'll let you guys choose. Now, Jeff Stoutland was there and was the run game coordinator when we had our franchise record season on the ground last year. Was he not?
Yes, he was.
He was the offensive line coach. I don't know if he was the running game coach in 2017 when we won the Super Bowl and we had a top 3 rushing attack also, right?
Well, they made him too, right? They made the run game coordinator last year.
Yeah, and
2020.
Right. But he was the offensive line coach then, right?
He was.
That's when we had that rushing season, top 3 rushing yards. In 2023, he was the offensive line coach then when we had a top 5 rushing attack also. Mm-hmm. Who wasn't there? Kevin Petula wasn't. He wasn't.
He was there.
He wasn't the offensive coordinator then.
No, he wasn't. He was he was with the. He was.
So out of these 3 guys, there's 2 knuckleheads, and there's 1 guy that has a proven track record of producing a very productive rushing attack. So I'm going to pick the Stoutland not being the one that was to blame for that putrid rushing attack last year. I'm gonna pick the 2 guys, the Laurel and Hardy. Lauren Hardy are the guys that were responsible. Oh, I'm dating myself. I know this.
You are.
Who
You are.
that is Lauren Hardy.
I
I'm
have a
sorry. I'm
question though.
sorry.
When did they take over play calling duties? I haven't read that anywhere.
They said it's mid-season. They pretty much said the run game wasn't efficient and what the information he wasn't given
So
to
like around game 8.
probably a little bit earlier than that.
And I could give, and I have, I don't want to use the word, but I have a reason why it wasn't productive. Our offensive line was beat up.
Yeah,
That's
were
a
beat up.
big reason why it wasn't as productive as the year before. But those knuckleheads, Kevin Patullo and Sirianni, because that's what they are. That's what they are. Kevin Patullo, he couldn't call plays, couldn't design plays, and then Nick Sirianni couldn't come in and fix his own offensive scheme. It was his scheme that Kevin Patullo was running, and Nick couldn't come in and help fix his own scheme. So I want them nowhere. I want Nick nowhere near Sean Mannion. Please allow him to have autonomy over the entire offensive side, just as Vic Fangio has autonomy over the defensive side of the ball. What does Nick do? Nick is just the head coach. That's what he does. Please stay out of the kitchen. Don't put your hands in the pot. Leave the stew alone. I don't want you shopping for the groceries. I don't want you doing anything. We have a new chef now. We have a new chef, and as the young people say, let him cook. Let him cook. Okay?
Let him cook.
What you think, you young now? What you doing? You put some of that tussing on your knees, huh? Dark Knight.
All right, let me go. I've been leaving these guys out long enough. Let me get to some of these conversations.
They on the side.
They having a good
Tony's
time.
late.
Oh, yeah.
Tony's
All right.
Hey,
John
Tony.
Batiste, I say again, Nicholas John Sirianni, you are on the hot seat. I am totally in agreement with that.
He is.
I totally agree with that too.
He is.
Sue says it too. If this don't work, Nick is gone.
But you know what? It's hard. I'm gonna be honest with you before we go to the next comment. It's hard to say we need to get rid of a coach, right? That led us to 2 Super Bowls, who has never had a losing season. It's like the same argument they had in Pittsburgh, right? With Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin, they didn't fire Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin said, I'm gone. I'm tired of this mess, right? So why would we necessarily get rid of a coach that's been successful? I mean, he's not the Chip Kelly. He didn't go Chip Kelly route. Give me a GM and all this other stuff. Get rid of Holly Roseman. He didn't go that route. He's reserved to be the CEO head coach. He's okay with that position.
It's the OC. We wouldn't have this problem if we had a steady OC. We wouldn't even be having this conversation.
Yeah,
right.
Period.
You're absolutely right.
It's always been the OC, y'all. Every issue goes back to that point by not having that same person consistently season after season. It does not work. I said it wasn't going to work 3-4 seasons ago, and now here we are. We still on this OC carousel. You can't get all the let alone the players. How you think the coaches are going to have consistency amongst themselves if the play caller keeps changing every season?
Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult. I'll be honest. I'll be honest with you. Oh wow.
I want to bring Eddie's comment in here. Well, is this not a signal? Well, is this not a signal that Mannion is already cooking? Change is always rough. Y'all making good points, but this is change. Also, this was the same talk in the offseason after the 23 collapse. The question is, what happens if it works? Y'all going to praise Nick again? No, I'm not. I really am not. If you guys have not heard my take on Nick, I don't.
We
I give him credit for winning.
Attitude.
Yes, I give him credit for winning a Super Bowl. It's not an easy thing. Every coach can not win a Super Bowl, so I give him credit for that. That's not an easy thing to do. But I call and I compare him to being a young Barry Switzer. And if anybody knows Barry Switzer, you know the story of Barry Switzer. Barry Switzer was a Super Bowl winning coach that took over a already dominant Cowboys team of the 90s. He replaced Jimmy Johnson and inherited a very strong Cowboys roster that had won 2 Super Bowls previously.
Cow turds.
Well, Cow Turds.
Dark Knight. Hold up. Dark Knight. We had to rinse your mouth out real quick.
So he had inherited a very strong Cowtur's team that had already won 2 Super Bowls.
Absolutely.
And he had this roster, and he was able to win a 3rd Super Bowl for the Cowboys in the 90s. But it was already set up. The roster was already talented. Only thing he had to do was not mess it up. And I feel that Nick Sirianni has been in the same position since he's been here. Howie has been giving him very strong rosters his entire 5 years. And in most cases, all he has to do is not mess it up. And he's already messed it up 2 out of 5 years. 2 years. And last year was when you look at the roster, it had to be a top 5 roster in the league. And he messed that up last year. In 2023, not as strong as this year. I will admit that. But still a team coming off a Super Bowl appearance and has started the season at 10-1, and they totally collapsed. So Nick, to me, is a Barry Switzer type of coach. I don't think that he's strong in his strategic knowledge or the X and O's of football, especially offense, and he's supposed to be an offensive coach, which it baffles me, but he's not strong in that area. He couldn't call plays. They had to take the play calling duties away from him. He couldn't fix his own offensive scheme, which his buddy was running last year. So I appreciate everything Nick has done. I recognize all the accomplishments he has achieved in his time here, but I don't think that his strength is X and O's. That's my take.
I wholeheartedly agree with you, and I think he realized that, and that's why he stepped back from calling the plays when he had Shane Steichen here, and let Shane Steichen actually be the offensive play caller. I think that was a smart move on the half of Nick Sirianni to realize that, you know what, I need to be more focal on the team instead of just being an offensive coordinator.
And your offensive coordinator has to be consistent.
It does.
A CEO coach does not work in a CEO coach system without a tight DC and a tight OC.
I agree with you, and I 100% agree with you, because you're Nichelle. I'm not disagreeing with anything that you or DarkKnight are saying. You're all 100% right.
Hold on. Wait. I have to interrupt because we have this comment up here. Nick didn't take over a great team. He took over a 4-win team. I am not saying that he took over a team. I said he has been given a very strong roster in most of the years that he's been here. Do you not agree? Do you not agree that Howie has given him a very strong roster in his time here?
It's crazy that you brought this comment up there, because I was really about to mention Jalen Reagor and Andre Dillon being our cornerstones instead of Jefferson and some other players at a particular
time. We ain't never letting that go.
No.
All right, so I vividly remember. I think we was at the cigar smoke shop. No, we weren't in the smoke. We had to talk about Jalen Reagor and had to talk about him and get light. I'm like, oh man, this is terrible. Jeff Stoutland's not going to Dallas. He's a Philadelphia guy.
No, he's not.
He's a Philadelphia guy. Christian Parker is not a Philadelphia guy. He's this guy that has an opportunity in front of him, and he saw the opportunity, he took it. But anyway, back to the original statement about the Nick Sirianni inheriting a great offense or a great team. He did not. He worked with Howie Roseman. Howie Roseman redeemed himself in the draft through free agency and helped turn this team into a powerhouse. That's what a GM. That's what a GM is supposed to do. We don't say that about Ozzie Newsome for the Baltimore Ravens, right? We always talking about the head coach, how he got the best out of his players, but Ozzie Newsome always drafted the best players, correct? For the Ravens, he always drafted the best players, and that's what you need from your GM. Your GM and your head coach should be working hand in hand, right? The GM should say, "I'm gonna get you the best players." And the head coach should say, you know what? I'm going to take these best players. I'm going to coach them as best as possible. I'm going to make sure these men understand what it is to be a pro player in this league. And these offensive coordinators that I have in place is going to get the best out of these players. That's what a team that you have a good run organization, that's what they do together. That's what you do when you have a good run organization. The Philadelphia Eagles is a good ran organization. Do we have faults? Absolutely. But you know what? I'd rather have our faults than the freaking Cleveland Brown faults.
Or the
Yeah,
Raiders.
and I'm a big guy. If I said that, I misspoke. I didn't mean that he came and inherited a great team. What I meant was he was handed great rosters since he's been here. He has been handed strong rosters since he's been here. How long has he been here? 5 years? I would
He's
say
got the support.
good,
He's
at
needed.
least 3 out of those years he's been handed one of the top rosters in the league. Last year, one of the top 5 rosters in the league. Year before that, won the Super Bowl, one of the top roster in the league. Before that, collapsed, but still a strong roster. And the year before that, they went to the Super Bowl. So he's been the beneficiary of having very talented rosters since he's been here. And all I can think is if the other coaches around the league had the same rosters in these same years that Nick had, what they would have done. What would have Andy Reid have done with the rosters that Nick had?
Woulda,
Sirianni
coulda,
had?
shoulda,
Wait a
though,
minute,
right?
wait a minute.
Right,
We
I
always
understand.
say that.
I had
Woulda,
to.
coulda,
If
shoulda.
I had my thing hooked up, I would throw the flag on you right now, Dark Knight.
What would Andy Reid do? He mess
Because
up the clock.
Because Andy Reid had to learn how to be a proper head coach for his time management. We all knew this because he had a dynamic roster. He had
That clock management
he
was
had a
garbage.
outstanding defensive coordinator, right?
I
He had
don't know if he had outside of T.O.'s roster. I don't think he ever had top receivers.
He had Deshaun Jackson and Jeremy Maclin. He had
he
had Mike
Stop
Vick.
playing.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
like
he
you
had
could go past Donovan. He's had some rosters.
he had some good
but Donovan
13
wasn't
years
good
there.
then.
Donovan was actually one of the best quarterback in the NFC at that time.
Come on, Dante.
He came second.
When he had Deshaun and Macklin, Donovan was on his downside. Matter of fact,
NFC Championship.
Deshaun and Macklin were better under Vic than
The offense
Donovan.
was more dynamic because he learned. Andy Reid learned how to be more dynamic, but the defense was trash. Let's be honest with you, the defense was trash.
Again, that makes my point.
Early on, Dark Knight, he had a great defense. He went to 4 NFC Championship games with that defense that was revolved around Brian Dawkins and that offense that revolved around Donovan McNabb with Brian Westbrook and Terrell Owens. Without Terrell Owens, there were some other guys that were okay that they still got the NFC Championship games.
I would challenge you to say, outside of the 2004 team, what other team would beat the last 3 teams that the Eagles have had under Sirianni? Outside of 2004. 2000 what?
2018?
No, not that. No. I'm not talking about.
He talking about the
rosters.
Donovan and Vic years.
Yeah. I'm talking about Andy Reid wasn't here in 2018. I'm talking
2008. I said 2008.
Oh, 2008.
When they lost to the Larry Fitzgerald and what's your name led Arizona Cardinals team that went on and had a very great Super Bowl that almost won a Super Bowl, and they lost because Ben Roethlisberger threw a touchdown in the back.
I don't even think that team would have been
that team would have blew all of our teams out the water. That team was that dynamic. Because Deshaun Jackson, Jeremy Maclin, we still had Brian.
Donovan was still there, right?
Donovan was still there.
Yeah.
We had Chad. No, we didn't have Chad Johnson as tight end. Who was Britt Sell at tight end? We just got Shady. We had Brian Dawkins.
Yeah, I'll give you Shady.
We got Brian Dawkins. We had Brian Westbrook there. Even though he was on the downhill of his running his career, he had Carell Buckholter. Like the offense was stacked. That defense was stacked. Listen, we had a good.
If it was a fifth, we'd all be wasted, right?
Yeah, if fifth was
I got
it. I'll let it go.
But I need to address Eddie's comment because I do feel as though, making sure we're not just piling on blame on 1 or 2 people. Where is Jeffrey in all this?
That has been
this your squad, and nobody says he has to be Jerry Jones. You know what I'm saying? But if we're really talking about it starts at the top, it starts way above the head coach. If it starts at the top, like you know what I mean? Like if there's group dynamics between the coaches, that's up to the owner and the GM to get that together.
Well, before we go any further, I gotta stop. I got in this quarter because we're well past that 10-minute.
Okay,
mark.
all right, go ahead, do that.
And that's the end of the quarter.
All right, you're watching Eagles Talk, listening to Eagles Talk, the most unique Eagles coverage show around that's by us Eagles fans and for us Eagles fans. And here on Eagles Talk, we like to talk about our favorite football team. That is the Philadelphia Eagles. We do so in such a relaxed manner that we enjoy our favorite adult beverage in the form of shots. Pat is doing the tequila. Nichelle is doing red wine. I'm doing tea. And we're going to do it together. So here we are. Let's salute our Philadelphia Eagles as we entered into a big offseason of change. So down the hatch, 3, 2, 1.
You're now listening to the third quarter.
Now, Eddie, I'm going to ask you to go check the transcript because I have made this point in previous shows. My blame goes to Howie Roseman for the mess that occurred this year because of what you're stating here right now. I said that he did not, what was the words that I used? It was negligence on his part to allow Kevin Patullo to be promoted to OC. He did not guard the gate with this team. He did not treat this team as the precious metal that it is. He allowed a Super Bowl winning team to be led by a first-time play caller that was promoted by Sirianni. That was negligence. It should have never happened. It should have never happened. We should have never been in this situation, especially when he has the year of 2023 as an example of what not to do. And he did the same. He allowed the same thing to happen. He allowed Sirianni to promote Brian Johnson that year after appearing in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And it was a disaster. And then after winning the Super Bowl, what does he do? He allows Sirianni to promote another person to OC. Yes, it was negligence. I've been saying that. The only difference is I never included Jeffrey in this equation. I've always put it on Howie Roseman's shoulders. So I will give you credit for that.
But
if
they're
you
not
go
making Nick's not making these he's a CEO coach, but he's not. The board chair is Howie and Lori. So he's not making these coaches' decision on his own and not getting approval and buy-in from them. They got they got to I'm sorry, they got to eat that.
I give you that. I give you that. I think they were so happy, champagne drunk, infused conversation. I don't think there was a deep interview process when they promoted Kevin Patullo. I don't think there was the process that they conducted to hire Sean Mannion. That didn't happen when they promoted Kevin Patullo. It was my man could do it. My man could do it. Don't worry about it. We cool. My man got it. It was one of those things as they were sipping champagne, at the parade. That's what that was. It was Super Bowl hangover. I like that, John Batiste. Super Bowl hangover.
Well, I'm still going back before Patullo. It is up to Howie and Lori to get an OC that's going to be here. That's their job.
Yeah. It's a hard thing. I'll give you that. It's a hard thing. Like I was in the opening of the show, I said at the beginning of this OC search, I wanted a Vic Fangio type coach, right? Somebody that's going to be around for a while, somebody that's not looking for a head coaching job, and someone who is very good at their job, just like Vic Fangio. I wanted a offensive Vic Fangio, right? And then, but a part of me wanted a young, brilliant offensive mind, the next Sean McVay, the next Matt LaFleur, the next Mike DeShanahan, the next, these young offensive.
Yeah, I get
you. You know what I mean? I did want that, right? And I know what comes with that is the possibility that they'll get plucked like our previous offensive coordinators have got plucked. But, it's just a part of the game. I hate to say it, but it's a part of the game. Now, there was a comment on here earlier where someone suggests that there should be a rule that says that you have to stay at least 2 years.
Well, it's a contract. So what happens is in your contract, for instance, right now he has probably a 3-year contract. The Eagles organization is saying, no, you can't interview for any other positions. But the Eagles, like I said, this organization is ran with integrity, and it's ran with the ability to let these offensive coaches and defensive coaches go for the bigger goal, what they wanted to achieve. That's why a lot of people, they love the organization, because they don't hold you back. They don't say no. You know, he's under contract. We don't want you. No, they say go ahead. If they offer what you're offering, what their ultimate goal is, take it. Now, in this instance, I kind of agree with that. He has a 3-year contract. He has to live to that 3-year contract. And we need to be selfish. This organization needs to be selfish this time around. All right. I understand that selfish don't always work out in the right way we think of, because some of these coaches become so hateful of the organization for not letting them go and achieving their ultimate goal of being a coordinator or head coach. But sometimes you have to be selfish as an organization and not allow these other organizations to come in and take our coaches.
Well, let me tell you another thing too. It's the market. The market for, offensive coordinators. It's almost like the kind of effect that free agency has had.
Yeah.
But with coaches. So the market, they're a hot commodity, a good OC, because of how the NFL and the style of play has changed over the past 2-3 decades. To be in these high flying offense, when the West Coast offense is the reason why we're here now. That became all the rage. That is why we're here now, and we're on this OC carousel, because now we're in a new timeline where you need this high power offense, which I think will also balance itself, because I do think that people like Saquon having the year he had, seeing some of the running backs do what they did this year, I think that hopefully they'll realize that having a good balance attack is what's going to make for prime time and make for highlight reels, not just throwing lights out.
I mean, yes, you want to win in all facets of the offense. You want to win throwing the ball, running the ball. You want to be dynamic. And that was put people in the seats. We always had the saying back in the day: offense put the people in the seats, defense win the games. Right now, we have the defense to win the games. The offense has to be more consistent. And I love this the quote that Wilbur Jones put up there about his wife Pam. He said, Pam says we need more consistency.
That's right, Miss Pam.
We need more consistency.
I'm sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
And John D. Batista, he hit the nail on the head. We are victims of our own success. Unfortunately, we talked about this before about Nick Sirianni have a coaching tree. Believe it or not, if you want to believe it or not, he does have a coaching tree. Have they been successful outside of Nick Sirianni? Absolutely not.
No,
but he does have a
coaching tree. He just know people.
He has 3 head coaches.
Yeah, but
in 6 years, 3 head coaches.
My coaching tree to me, and I know, I'm going crazy.
Cycles.
But coaching tree to me, like you came from someone that had an influence on you being the coach that you are, or something. It's just so shallow just to say, all right, he coached under him. Like, all right, so we're going to say that Kellen Moore came from Sirianni's coaching tree. Come on, man, he was here 1 year. He did not cut his teeth under Sirianni. So I know what they're saying.
He won the Super Bowl.
But yeah, he did win the Super Bowl. I give him that.
So he did cut his teeth.
I think that what John is saying is absolutely true. We are the victims of our own success, and we can't help it. I mean, Howie gives us great teams, and this brings me back to the point where there was a point during this OC search where it didn't seem as though this job was as attractive as I thought it was going into the offseason. I thought that this would be a very attractive job to many candidates looking for an OC position, right? But somewhere along the line, it became like not very attractive. And I don't know if it's because of Sirianni. I was hearing some rumbles that it might be Jalen. I don't know why it was, but now that we have him and we're having this conversation right now, I'm back to the perspective that this is a very, very attractive job. Are you kidding me? This job will get you fast track to a head coaching job like no other job. When you come in and your job is to get great offense production, and you've been given the tools that this offense is giving you, why wouldn't you want to come here? You have Saquon Barkley, you have AJ Brown, you have Devontae Smith. I don't know if we're going to have Goddard, but we have hopefully our offensive line bounces back. But you have all the tools that you need to be successful, and having that will fast track you to a head coaching job, as you've seen with our past OCs that have come and gone very quickly.
Absolutely. Dark Knight, something just popped up. I totally agree with that. The thing about it, Greg Olsen said this. He interviewed on, I think it was First Take. He said, I don't understand why most of these guys are seeking these offensive coordinator positions, not knocking down the door of the Philadelphia Eagles. Because
he did say it. Yes, he did.
A lot of the offense coordinators that have been successful have went on to be head coaches. He named Shane Steichen. He named Kellen Moore. He even named defensive coordinator and Jonathan Gannon. Even though he was never successful, these guys went on to be head coaches right after their tenure with the Philadelphia Eagles. Even 1 year or 2 years with the Eagles, they
didn't even have to be here for more than 2-3 seasons.
Exactly. So that's the thing. Like Dark Knight, if I was an offensive coordinator or seeming to be an offensive coordinator out there, and I wanted to be an offensive, I would love this position, because not only I'll make this offense dynamic, because you got these guys that's just trying to get away from the hitch routes. We ran 48 hitch routes in that one game. That was more than 3 NFL teams in the whole playoffs.
Come on, why? You're giving us PTSD, man.
I'm sorry. I was there, Dark Knight. You don't understand. I was there. I saw it with these eyes. All right.
When I'm walking down the street, man, all I see is people walking in a hitch pass pattern type of walk, and I just freeze. I freeze. I freeze. I'm like, not another hitch, not another damn hitch.
Oh, now you're jumping on my vanilla offense bandwagon that I've been on.
So
that offense was Uggs. It was Uggs.
Uggs.
It wasn't the Aussie
Levi's.
Uggs and flannel.
Wait. It was the Uggs from 52nd Street. All right. It was
right. It wasn't. Yeah, it was knockoff Uggs too. It wasn't even real Uggs. It was real.
I do got to say this because we need to go in the fourth quarter, because we've been over an hour right
I gotta go soon.
Yeah. Let me end this quarter. We talk about it in the fourth quarter real quick.
All right.
And that's the end of the quarter.
All right, you're watching Eagles Talk, the #1 Eagles coverage show on Facebook. That's by us Eagles fans and for us Eagles fans. And here on Eagles Talk, we like to talk about our favorite football team, that is the Philadelphia Eagles, and we do so in such a relaxed manner that we enjoy our favorite adult beverage in the form of shots. I'm doing tea, Pat's doing tequila, and Nichelle is doing the red wine.
Be exact, the tray agave is very good tequila. If you can't see it, it's really
Trey
good.
Agave.
Yeah, it's getting the job done too with your slurring. All right, so here we go. Let's raise our glasses and down the hatch. 3, 2, 1.
You're now listening to the fourth quarter.
All right, we're gonna have a short fourth quarter. Let's talk about the Super Bowl. Super Bowl's coming up on Sunday, and guess who is in it? Our man, the guy that you said shits the bed, is in the Super Bowl, and I'm predicting that he's going to win, and that's one Sam Darnold. You said Sam Darnold. I don't trust Sam Darnold. Such as this is Pat. I don't trust him. I don't whatever. He's in the Super Bowl, and if he plays like he did the previous couple games, he's going to be a Super Bowl champ. I'm actually rooting for them because I can't, I hate the Turds. And then the second most team I hate is the Patriots.
Yeah,
I hate them. So I cannot root for them. So, and I think that they can do it as long as Sam Darnold plays on the same level that he has been playing all year and throughout these playoffs. Their defense is the real deal.
They are.
They
have a very, very good defense. It's more similar to the Broncos, who the Patriots just faced. And you know what? The crazy thing about, if the Broncos had a more capable quarterback than Stidham, the Broncos go ahead and win that game. But hindsight is 50-50. That doesn't happen. This,
Woulda,
you know,
coulda,
their
shoulda.
their defense kept them in the game. That was a 10-7 game. That was a boring game. That was a
Yeah.
defensive game, people would say. But I love that game because I love to see defensive fights.
Yeah.
But anyway, the Seahawks have a high flying defense. They built the team the right way, like we have. They went through the draft, through proper free agents. They have Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold, y'all don't realize Sam Darnold was a high draft pick. I think he was number one over draft pick with the Jets, wasn't he?
Uh-huh. Yeah, I
All
think
right.
so.
Sam Darnold. The reason I talk about him like this because he beat my Penn State Nittany Lions in the Rose Bowl game when Saquon Barkley had an outstanding game, right? Outstanding game. Sam Darnold, cool as the other side of the pillow, just tore us apart. Literally tore us apart and beat us because he was the better player on that field. Even though Saquon was the better, well, he was the second best player, but Sam Darnold was that player. And Sam Darnold has that in him. He has the ability to be a top-notch quarterback in the NFL under the right tutelage. Going to the Jets is a hole, just like going to the Cleveland Browns. Is an endless hole of revolving quarterbacks that don't succeed there because of the coaching staff, what they bring in there. Even Aaron Rodgers, the almighty Aaron Rodgers, after he got healthy, was trash there with the Jets, right? So, I mean, even Minnesota. The thing about Minnesota is Minnesota should have brought him back.
Yeah, they really screwed
That
that up.
offense was dynamic with Sam Darnold. He froze in the playoffs, and that happens. But now, whatever they did in Seattle, whatever the offensive coordinator, the quarterbacks coach did with Sam Darnold, he is playing on a different level. I like Drake May. I hate to say that because he's a
I know
Patriots
he's
fan.
balling now.
And
What
Yeah,
is
he
he-
is balling.
Milton Williams is, our former Eagle. He's there.
Yeah.
He said something in about the Philadelphia Eagles fans. You heard that?
No, I did not.
He was asked, "What's the better fan base, the Patriots or the Eagles?" He
Huh.
said,
All
the
day.
Patriots are a more calmer fan base. The Philadelphia Eagles is a more rambunctious. They don't care. They'll go to jail for their team.
Yeah. And that is a compliment to me. That's how I hear it. I
About
don't know.
that life
Yeah,
So,
that's
Okay.
hard.
in the Philadelphia. Stop
So
playing
I'll
with
be
us.
honest with you. I'm an NFC guy. So as long as it's not the Cow Turds, I'm gonna go with in now for the 49ers. If it's not those two teams, I'm going for our NFC
Yeah, I'm not
NFC
staying
team.
the 49ers.
Um,
What's up with them?
the Patriots, they have enough wins. They have
Yeah,
enough W's.
yeah. I
Even
agree.
though their head coach and their owner didn't get the Hall of Fame, which is a bunch of BS. But
No,
they
it's not. That's I'm in agreement
I
with
know
that.
I know with the cheating scandals and stuff like that, but
Yes.
after the cheating scandals,
They
they-
cheated us out of a Super Bowl.
They
So
did.
I
Yes,
don't
they
care.
took a Super Bowl from me. I will
I don't
never.
But you know what? I'm
Never.
a pause
care
on
if we
that.
don't make the Hall of Fame until we ain't here anymore.
They're gonna do the Mike. They're
Right.
gonna do the
I'm all right with that.
Seriously.
what's the guy that got banned from a lifetime for third baseman? The Rose.
Yeah, Pete Rose.
Pete Rose. They're gonna
Yeah.
Pete Rose them. They're gonna
They
Barry
might
Bonds
do-
them. Barry
Yeah,
Bonds?
they may. I mean, I read that investigative article by Sports Illustrated at that time, and it was very
Detailed.
yes, very detailed. He cheated, and the owners came together
Mhm.
on the strength of the shield, the NFL shield, and and squashed it. But
Yeah.
it could have been a lot worse. And they did that for the integrity of the league. That's how bad the cheating was. You know
It
what I
was
mean?
bad.
And they had to do it. They had to come together and unify and squash it. And that's why Goodell, destroyed the documents. The
They
tapes
knew our
and all that.
cause.
It was crazy. It was crazy.
They said they
But
knew our defensive cause and our offensive cause.
a couple of not
For that
only
week.
ours, the Rams Super Bowl
And that's
as
just
well.
where they got caught. Who's to say Brady
Yeah.
would even have the infinity rings of Super Bowl rings if they had got caught sooner?
But you know
Yes.
what? I'm agree with one of the guys. I can't remember his name. He said Tom Brady is not a first ballot Hall of Famer. And I looked at him and said, "Why is he not?" He said Tom Brady relied on the ability of the cheating his defense, and he
Yeah.
was an average quarterback early on.
Right.
He was an average quarterback early on. He hit the check
I
down.
tell everybody that.
He hit the
But-
running
Yeah.
back. He hit the,
He'll
he hit
tell
the
you
tight
that.
end. He didn't throw deep passes until he got Randy Moss, and that's when
Right.
his game changed until he got Randy Moss.
Yeah.
And I had
definitely
to
agree
sit
with
back
that.
and realize that, like,
But
damn,
back
you're
to
right.
Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is a perfect example of, and this is, and he is so fortunate. I'm happy for him, to be real, right? I'm happy for him because we have seen so many top draft pick quarterbacks, that have been termed bust,
Yeah,
but weren't really bust. They just were. They had the misfortune of going to franchises whose coaching staffs sucked, and it ruined their career. And it was going to do the same for Sam Darnold, except that he got away from the Jets and he got a second chance to prove himself. But had he not gotten away from the Jets, he would have been termed a bust. And we see that he has talent. And I just feel bad for some of the other top drafted quarterbacks that didn't get that opportunity, and they're just now known as bust forever. Now there's some that were bust, but there were some that actually had some talent and didn't get that second opportunity. So I'm happy, and I'm pulling for Sam Darnold. I don't have any dogs in the race, or any horses in the race rather. So I'll pick the NFC representative, and that's because I can't root for the Cheatriots at all. All right, let's wrap this up. Are you guys ready? Can we go?
DarkKnight. I'm gonna do a shot for Jeff Stoutland.
All right.
I'm
we
not
saying
going
good
nowhere, and we're saying good night.
All right, so we're going to do a shot out the door, man. Come back next Thursday. We are still on the air during the off season, and
Yeah,
as you
next
can see,
Thursday?
there's a lot to talk about and a lot to cover with these Philadelphia Eagles as they continue to build their offensive coaching staff. And there's been some big decisions that have to be made in this offseason about who we're going to keep and who we're going to allow to walk. We have a lot of players that I would love to keep, but we can't keep them all. So keep it tuned here. Come back next Thursday upon further review when we'll talk more Eagles. Until then, you guys enjoy the Super Bowl, and we'll see you guys next Thursday. We're out. Oh, down the hatch. I'm sorry. 3, 2, 1.